Nothing in this podcast or on our website should be construed as medical advice. Consult your healthcare provider for your individual nutritional and medical needs. The information presented is based on our research and is strictly that of the author and not necessarily those of any professional group or other individual.
Hi, I'm Sue Becker from Bread Beckers. Welcome to Sue's Healthy Minutes. I'm so excited you've joined me today, and I hope this episode encourages you and allows you to find the answers you have been praying for the health of you and your family. Hi, today on Sue's Healthy Minutes, I'm actually doing an interview live from the Bread Becker store. So you may hear some background noise of hand trucks, forklifts, happy customers going on, but just ignore it because I have a great guest. Today, my guest is my new friend, Kimberly McIntyre. Kimberly is a nutrition and wellness coach with a passion, like me, to teach others about healthy living and how to prevent and heal from disease. Kimberly actually reached out to me months ago to see if we could arrange a time for her to do a short video interview with me for her to use in her teachings. Life just always seemed to get in the way until today. The day before our interview, the thought occurred to me, though, that if Kimberly was driving all the way from South Carolina, right, to talk with me, she surely had an It's the Bread story to tell. So I called her and asked, and her reply was, well, actually, I do. So I've not heard her story yet, so I will hear it right along with all of you listening today. So Kimberly, thank you so much for joining me today on Sue's Healthy Minutes. And I always like to begin by asking you to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you first came to hear about Bread Beckers. So welcome, and will you just share with us?
Yes, thank you so much for having me. So my story began, I don't know, it was a lot of years ago, when I had a health issue myself. Yeah. And I joined, so I went to the doctor. What he prescribed for me was a pill, and it didn't work very well. And so I called out for help. I knew someone that actually owned a nutrition and wellness store. And through that path, I got involved in co-ops. And through those co-ops is how I found Bread Beckers. And then that's how I found out about the information about the wheat.
Okay.
And so then there was someone in Anderson, South Carolina who owned a bread store who was being trained by you. I don't remember her name.
Yeah.
But she was on 10 different medications when she first started, and I think she was down to her last 2.
Wow.
And so she came to our home. We had a bunch of people there, and she taught us how to make bread.
That's amazing.
And so then we brought it into our own home. I have 3 children. We homeschooled as well. And that was really where it all began.
Wow. That's amazing.
And my kids loved it. They still love it to this day.
Yeah.
Even though, when they come home, they reminisce, and I'll whip them up some cookies, and those are still their favorite cookies. The Ranger or Rancher.
Oh, the Ranger cookies.
Yes. And so I could walk through your store and I have so many things here. And I have the original, I guess it was the original.
The red book.
Yes. And I still get it out. I just had it the other day.
That is so
filled
great.
with amazing recipes.
Well, so you mentioned that you had a health setback. So what were can you describe what that was? I mean, what was your particular issue?
Which time?
Oh, okay. So lots.
So the first time was heart related, and I had an irregular heartbeat, and it started palpitating. Like I could feel it in my neck. It hurt so bad. And so when I would go to bed at night, I would actually sit up and hold my neck to just try and stop. And I didn't know what was going on. So
oh my goodness.
I went to the doctor, and he put me on a beta blocker because I had AFib.
Yeah.
I had AFib.
Yeah.
So that pill, and I was taking the lowest dose and clipping it in half. But by the time it was get the kids ready for bed, I'm passed out, like literally passed out. I can't function. I'm fatigued. I wake up in the morning. I don't want to get out of bed. I'm dragging out of bed. Well, a mama of 3 homeschool kids, like you're just not going to
that doesn't work.
So that's when I called, and the guy said, well, just take magnesium. What? Just take magnesium. And I did. So I got off the medication immediately. Fortunately, I wasn't used to the medical model.
Yeah.
I wasn't against it. I didn't know what I know now.
Right.
Sorry. But So anyway, I didn't know any better, but because he said that and it worked, I wanted to know what else I didn't know.
Yeah.
And
now, was this the same doctor that put you on the beta blocker that told you to take magnesium, or
no,
it was okay? It was
I called out
to
that someone who owned a health food store.
Yeah.
And he said, well, actually, that happened to me, and I just took magnesium, and so I did. Boom, gone.
Wow.
And so from there, as I said, I wanted to know more. Like, what else don't I know? So I started getting all these books, reading all these books.
Yeah.
And then that led me to a co-op where I would go and pick up my milk and all the things. And I think that they would grind wheat, and so I would get some fresh ground from them. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I want to go to the source. I want to do this myself.
Yeah. Yeah. So you joined a co-op there in
Yes.
South Carolina.
Yes.
And learned about milling your grain.
Yes.
So when you started on the bread journey, did you notice some significant health changes, or you just felt all around better,
I just felt better and didn't have these problems. I had a problem with brain fog. I had a problem with joint issues and things like that.
And
now, what I will say for someone new to this that might not know any better, like me, I did not know any better, and I probably wasn't drinking enough water in the first place.
Right.
Drink water.
Yes. Yes.
As you're introducing all the fiber.
Yes. Drink
water.
water. Every now and then we'll get someone that will call and say, I've been doing the bread and I'm still constipated. And my first question is, are you really doing it? Are you eating? And oh yeah, I'm eating a muffin today, but then they're eating, McDonald's at lunch or whatever.
Right.
So that's my first question. But then the other, no, I'm eating this several times a day. This is the only bread I eat. And I'm like, are you drinking enough water? And that's my first step to healthy living is grind your own grain, make your bread. My second is drink water. Drink more water. We need to stay hydrated.
Absolutely.
So that is a biggie. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. This is, wow, I'm just so fascinated. How about your children? How old were they when you started? Were they young?
So I guess it was about 17 years ago. So maybe my oldest was 9.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I knew all kinds of stuff
listen,
back then.
Mine were older.
Thank God my kids lived, right?
Yeah. Thank goodness we do. Yes. I get it. But, yeah. So did you notice, they loved the bread, right?
Yes.
That's what I love about it.
They loved it
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
Yes. So honestly, we did not have, my kids were never on medication.
Right.
My kids didn't have these problems. Fortunately, other than bread, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, we did do pretty good job, but of course there were still things that needed to be cleaned up. But we didn't have allergies. We didn't have those things.
Right.
I had already known about raw milk, and
yes,
I was brought up on goat milk, and my mom would go to the farm in Dacresville, South Carolina, and pick it up. And so just kind of threaded through that, in my life to be able to at least gift my kids with that.
And that's kind of the way we were too. I wouldn't say we were a sickly family. My kids didn't have allergies. They weren't, but we had our share of, in a large family, and you go to church and, activities, they bring home little bugs here and there. But we noticed right away that the snotty noses, not horrible, but those just went away. And then that they didn't necessarily pick up every bug that was going around.
Right.
So that was
that's definitely the story to continue is that my family was sick less.
Yes.
Than
Yeah.
Yeah.
And though, like I said, your family sounds very much like mine, because we were eating fairly well. And we weren't sick all the time, but it's noticeable that, hey, this one got sick and the rest of us didn't. That one got sick because they spent the night with a friend that was sick, and then it didn't just pass through the whole house. That's kind of what we began to notice. Well, I love your Facebook and Instagram name, Intyre Healing, a play on your last name.
Yes.
That is so fitting. I just love that. So you mentioned that the more you saw natural and simple things heal your body, the more passionate you became. Mm-hmm. You've mentioned magnesium and you've mentioned bread. Was there any other simple changes that you made that you could share with others, and the differences that you saw that you could think of right offhand?
Yes, just getting as close to the way God made something as possible,
yes,
which is such a game changer. And this is what
simple.
it should have been. It's so
Yes.
simple, and somehow it's gotten all messed up.
I know.
And so the more clean you eat, the better you feel. And over time, there's a brain shift that has to take place.
Yes.
Because we have been programmed and we have been eating this particular way.
Yes.
And the body wants what the body is used to.
Yeah.
So there can be a shift. Because if you tell me I can't eat mama's enchiladas anymore, I'm going to freak out.
Yeah.
But if you tell me I can still make mama's enchiladas, but just change out a few ways that we do things,
Yes.
they're still going to be delicious, but now they're nourishing.
Now
I'm not scared.
with my own tortillas. And
Yes, exactly. And also, like, you have an amazing tortilla recipe.
Yes.
I think I bought, and in fact, I know I did. I bought my tortilla maker from Becker's, and those are the best. And when my kids come home, a lot of times they'll be like, "Remember those tortillas they used to make? Can you make those again? Because they're so delicious." That's another fun thing about this is you can gift someone amazing food, and when they're sick, or maybe they just had a baby, I made your banana bread recipe and I take it to them, and then they're like asking questions like, "Your banana bread was so delicious. How can I make it?"
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
this is how
I
you
know.
do it.
And it's that was one of the things too for me. It wasn't just that it was nourishing to my body. I felt good about the food I was feeding my family and sharing with others. And
That's
in
right.
fact, that's how we started Becker's, because I was taking bread to people, and because I didn't, every church function or like you said, if they were sick, and next thing I know, people were calling me going, "What's in this bread? I feel better." You mentioned something, and I want to back up a little bit. You mentioned brain fog and inflammation, and those are two biggies that the mythological propaganda that's out there about wheat is that it causes brain fog. We've heard the grain brain and that it causes inflammation. It didn't do that for you.
No.
It changed that.
Now, I will say I overdid it because I loved it so much. And I ate not only at every meal, but snack time too.
Oh, yeah.
So go back to the beginning where I said, make sure you drink water.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that was, first of all, I don't care what it is. We shouldn't be eating it 100% of the time. So whether it's meat, you wouldn't sit around and eat bananas all day, right? We got to incorporate some other things. So that was the only thing that I needed to have balance, because it's still like a cookie still even though I'm using sucanat.
Yeah.
And I was overdoing that.
Yeah.
But get it back in balance, and it is very nourishing and feel great and all of those good things, to make sure you drink water.
Yeah.
So at that point in time, I got it right, and now I'm sailing and everything is fine. And honestly, life got busy, and so over time, as my kids moved out, I stopped making it as much, and I'm now circling back around.
Yes.
So, forget buying the Ezekiel bread in the grocery store. Make it in your own home. And I can make 5 loaves at a time.
Yeah.
And I can freeze some of it. Go ahead and have it sliced. I bought a bread slicer.
Yay.
And so, circling it back around, but also I now have a platform of people that have got to know the truth. And so I'm bringing it into my business and just really exposing, what is it that they need to be doing? Because they have doctors telling them. I have a client right now whose doctor had told him nutrients won't help you.
Well, wow.
Hello? Well, guess what?
What do you think helps you? Yeah.
After 3 short weeks in my program, he is already feeling better. I first had to convince him that his doctor was wrong.
Which we have to be careful saying.
Exactly. Well, so I did it very kindly.
Yeah.
All I said was, the Bible says there is hope.
Yeah.
And that God has put everything that we need to heal our bodies on this planet.
Yes.
So
in foods, herbs, plants. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
So
that's amazing. That's just amazing. So, I was going to ask you to tell us a little bit about your coaching. What does it entail? So you're basically promoting what I teach.
Yes.
Eat real food.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
go back.
Yes.
And, it always amazes me when people say, "Oh, you're the health food people." And I'm like, no, because people's vision of a health food person is weird, unpronounceable foods that cost lots of money.
They taste terrible.
I'm just saying, shop the perimeter of the grocery store and mill your own grain to make your bread.
Yeah, that's
and
exactly
enjoy
right.
life.
Right.
Decide if you want to be a vegetarian. Decide if you want to be a meat eater, but just eat it real the way God
Right. That's
made
exactly
it.
right.
So, yeah.
Well, unfortunately, the medical model is sick care.
Yes.
And if you want health care, then we need to get to the root of the problem. I'm not treating symptoms.
Right.
So what we need to do is we need to find out what is your problem, and then let's tackle that.
Yes.
So we know that the majority of issues start in the gut.
Yep.
And so that is my niche.
I spend a long time there. Yes.
Yes. And so let's clean up the gut. Let's get people sleeping. Let's get them feeling better, energized, moving their body.
Yeah.
And so I do the biblical model. I am a biblical health coach. And before someone signs on with me, they know that, because I don't want someone coming to me that would make them wish they didn't. Because some people don't want that, but that is what they get, the biblical approach. And honestly, if the Lord has something he wants to say, I'm willing. And so that's what we're doing. And so we're changing lives through mind, body, and soul. And soul is actually where it begins.
Yes.
So we start there and then bringing balance. But what the main thing is to teach people how to listen to their body, because your body knows what's wrong or right. We just forgot to tune in.
Yeah.
God has given us that gift.
In fact, that's something, that God just really drilled down on me, is our symptoms are really our body telling us that
something's wrong.
Yeah, or even it's trying to correct something,
That's
know,
right.
and protect you in another way. So you don't want to just cut that symptom off. You want to find out, what is it telling me?
That's
kinda,
right.
I always liken it to the oil light that comes on in your car or your gas gauge. It's trying to tell you something.
Yes.
And the oil light, when it comes on, or the check engine light, you don't want to just go in there and disconnect the cord that's lighting that light.
That's
You
right.
want to go, why is this coming on?
That's right.
So I just love that approach. So, okay, if someone, you're from South Carolina,
Yes.
right? What area?
Easily. Close to Greenville.
Yes, you're part of our Easily co-op,
Yes.
I think, yes.
Yep. Except
So-
I typically drive here because I just love to look around.
Well, we love you driving here too. So if someone wanted to reach out to you for help, how can they get in touch with you if they don't live in Easily?
So they can go to my website.
Okay.
And I have a form that they can fill out, come straight to my email, and then we connect.
Okay. And your website is?
Intyrehealing.com.
Intyre, and spell that.
INTYRE.
Like the McIntyre.
That's right.
The Intyre of your
Yes.
last name. So
Yes.
IntyreHealing.com.
Yes.
So they can reach out to you there. And I always like to ask my guests if there's any words of encouragement you would like to leave with our listeners today before we end our time together.
Yes. No matter where you are in your walk of life, you can always feel better through clean eating and that mind, body, soul model. Some people
Absolutely.
have been taught that it is what it is, and it's not. And no matter where you are, no matter what age you are, I moved my dad in when he was 82 years old. He had had brain dysfunction. We could tell his cognitive skills were going down. And so it was just easier for me to move him in because then I could manage everything within, and I'm not kidding you, Sue, within 2 weeks, we noticed a huge difference. Week 3, he just so happened to have a doctor's appointment. It was just on the schedule. He goes to his doctor, and the doctor said, I don't know what you're doing, but you don't have to take your blood pressure medication anymore.
Hallelujah.
You have a twinkle in your eye I have never seen, and your skin looks absolutely beautiful. It was 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yes. And it was through that mind, body, and soul approach. My dad said, if I don't live another day, it was so worth it because of how good I feel.
Amen.
And people at church walked up to him and they said, well, they had no clue. And they're strangers at church. What are you doing? You look great.
Yeah. Wow.
It was amazing. So
And
just
he was
to
how
know-
old?
He was 83.
So it's never
It's
too
never
late.
too
I have
late.
I've done a podcast with a fella that is 93. I went to his assisted living home. He makes bread for everyone there and teaches them.
What
It's never
purpose.
too late.
And giving
It's-
him purpose.
Yes.
Right?
And that in 3 weeks, your father could have his life back in a way.
Yes.
And feel so much better.
Yep.
And wow, that's an amazing
So that's
story.
the name, right? That's the name of the game. Is we want to teach people how to feel amazing because you can, and then you have a whole new focus on life, and it's all about freedom. We talked about that a little bit in the other video. Freedom from And that's where Christ comes in, right?
Yes.
He wants us to be free, and we don't have to be stuck in a diet. That is the most amazing thing.
Yes.
Like, we don't have to keep doing these diets. It's a lifestyle, and we eat this way forever, and it's enjoyable and wonderful.
Yes.
And a blessing.
Yes, and it's delicious.
That's right.
That's what I love.
Yep.
Golly, Kimberly, I could talk with you forever. Thank you so much for staying over and having this extra time with me to let me hear your story and share your story with others. I just love what you're doing. We're kindred spirits, I can tell. We share the same passion of just letting people know you can feel better, look better, act better, and enjoy life much better.
Yeah.
So I just thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
It's a joy. You are so very welcome. So glad you're here today. I'll let you get out there in the store and shop around and look.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank all my listeners for listening today. I hope that you are as encouraged as I am. And until next time, this is Sue Becker from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minutes.
Sue's Healthy Minutes podcast has been a presentation by the Bread Beckers Incorporated, located in Woodstock, Georgia. For more information, store hours, and learning opportunities, visit breadbeckers.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast and never miss an episode. Share this with 2 friends who would benefit from this information, and be sure to join us again next week for more of Sue's Healthy Minutes.